So I need your help. Every year, around February, I get like this. My appetite is absent. My thoughts become cluttered. I have to take a week off from work just to cope with the anxiety. Every year, a day or two before Valentine's Day, I get mailed an envelope from my daughter. There is always the same title. Do not open until Valentine's Day. They contain a piece of ripped paper with an image printed on them. I always wait until Valentine's Day to open them, and that day is fast approaching. This year will be the 14th year in a row that she's mailed me one. The only problem is, my daughter disappeared 14 years ago. It all started when my daughter, Riley, was 8. Her mother and I just divorced, and it was nasty. We fucking hated each other. And I'll admit, I can be stubborn sometimes, but according to her, every bad thing that happened was my fault. Her finger was always pointed at me. So many nights Riley couldn't sleep because of our yelling. Looking back, the divorce was in our best interest, especially Riley's. But still, I can't imagine how difficult it was for Riley watching her mother and I drift apart. My lawyer was expensive as shit, but worth it when joint custody was granted. My marriage was terrible, but it brought the flower of the world into my life, Riley. Arrangements were made for each of us to keep Riley 2 weeks at a time, and both of us living in the same school district made transport easy. Having to deal with her crazy mother on occasion was a pain in the ass, but well worth it to see my girl. As she grew up, her curiosity astonished me. It opened my eyes to things that you miss as an adult. She loved trips to the zoo, pushing her doll in a stroller, swinging. I taught her how to ride a bike with no training wheels. She taught me how to appreciate endless hours of Disney movies. My favorite time with Riley was holidays. My side of the family treated her like a princess, and she soaked up the attention like a sponge. We always had so much fun playing games or exploring outside. She loved spending holidays with me, but I usually didn't get to. Her overbearing mother caused a stir if Riley wasn't with her side of the family for holidays, and I usually didn't put up a fight. I knew how to pick my battles carefully. Well, since she couldn't see me on most major holidays, she started mailing me things. She was sad that I couldn't see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas, so she would cut out funny images that she saw in a newspaper, magazine, or the internet. She'd mail them to me a few days before the holiday. She always titled the envelope, "Do not open until... insert holiday." She started enjoying her little collage projects, and I started receiving them on New Year's, Halloween, 4th of July, and Valentine's Day. The next time she would come over, she asked if I waited until the actual holiday to open them, which I always did. It was a fun way for us to get around the 2-week rule. I started putting all of her envelopes and cutouts into a bin. I held on to each and every one. She was my little angel that could instantly put me in a good mood. Her body may have been small, but her heart was large enough for the two of us. I don't know how she turned out so caring, after all the shit her mother and I put her through. But God, I cared for her so much. One morning, I was woken by an authoritative knock at my door. The police eagerly searched my home and questioned me for hours, but I was more confused than helpful. I lost my shit when they said Riley was missing. I sucked up my pride to join my ex-wife in helping the police any way that we could. The search began immediately. The Amber Alert had already been issued, and the whole community searched for my little angel. She was nowhere to be found. After getting my ex-wife's neighbors and the others' testimony, the police pieced together their best assumption as to what happened. The report said Riley waited at the end of the driveway for the school bus. Her mother let Riley stand by herself while getting ready for work. The next time she looked for Riley, she was gone, and suspected the bus had picked her up, and she was on the way to school. The bus driver said he never saw Riley that day. When the school called my ex-wife about Riley's absence an hour later, the police were called. Over the next few days, tips came in, but nothing was substantive. As the attention faded, so did the help. As the help faded, so did my optimism. When the police called off the search 2 weeks later, I smashed the fuck out of my bedroom drywall in rage. I had a phase where I blamed my ex-wife for being irresponsible. I had a binge drinking phase. Hell, I even had a suicidal phase that went on so far as a pistol purchase. The light of my life had been extinguished by some random perv or a fucking maniacal abductor. Nothing helped ease the pain, and the following year crept by slowly. Then I received an envelope. Startled by the writing, I dropped it on the ground and I read the front. Do not open until Valentine's Day. The handwriting was shockingly similar, and even the apostrophe was missing, something that she always forgot. I lost it. Tears streamed down my face while I sobbed harder than I had in my life. My sorrow quickly turned to anger when I realized what happened. Someone was playing the sickest fucking joke imaginable, and I had to find out who. I called my ex-wife. She brushed off my anger as pathetic. I called a few friends who might have known something, but no one did. When I finally opened the envelope, the only thing it contained was a small torn piece of paper with a printed image of a monkey. After calming my rage and getting my wits about me, I threw everything into a plastic bag and took it to the police. Did one of her letters get trapped in the mail only to be sent a year late? Is it a cruel joke? Is her abductor taunting me? Is Riley alive? None of my questions were answered after they analyzed the mail. No fingerprints, no fibers, no DNA, fucking nothing. The only helpful information I received was since there was no stamp or return address, then someone put it in the mailbox personally. After 6 months of testing, the envelope and the monkey image were returned to me. I put it in the box with the rest of Riley's gifts. The event was so peculiar, it never left my mind. I spent hours of going over possible scenarios of her disappearance and how one of her gifts got to me a year late. I spent that year recluse from my family and friends while trying to make sense of what happened. My heart needed to heal alone. On February 12th the following year, another envelope came. It had the same handwriting and title, Do Not Open Until Valentine's Day. I didn't get upset. Somehow it gave me peace. I followed the instructions, and 2 days later, I opened it. A small piece of paper with an orange on it inside, and I put it with the others. This has continued for the last 13 years. 14, if one comes this year. The first 4 envelopes contained images of a monkey, an orange, a mailbox, mice. After 4 unsuccessful attempts, in 4 years the police could not find any information. Every year I brought them my newest gift, and every year they told me no evidence was found. They knew it was odd for me to get letters the same time every year, but since they were not threatening, they couldn't do much else. They advised that I ignore them since I could be it could be a prank. After the 4th year, I stopped showing them. The next 3, I was mailed images of a yo-yo, kite, and igloo. A few months after I received the cutout of the igloo, I was called about Riley's disappearance. A young college filmmaker wanted to do a low-budget documentary on her disappearance and asked permission from me. Publicly, it could only help Riley's situation, so I agreed. The interview was difficult, but the college kid was accommodating enough to interview my ex-wife on a different occasion. I never mentioned the envelopes. After it was released online, the cops got a few more tips, but nothing materialized. The next February, I set up a camera to record my mailbox. I waited to catch the person in the act. However, after getting another envelope, I searched the footage to find an error had occurred. The last 12 hours were just static. The new envelope gave me a rush while opening it. It was like Riley was still talking to me. Sure, I had doubts, but sometimes the only thing keeping a man sane are his delusions. The handwriting was still the same. It was still Riley's. The envelope's image was of a lemur. I continued living my life. I've only had a construction job for 9 years now. It pays well and keeps the hours consistent. My girlfriend lives with me. She's great. I've kept the gifts from Riley a secret. Even my ex-wife doesn't know about them. And when asked why I take off after Valentine's Day, I just tell everyone it's in honor of my daughter. The next 2 years brought in large images. The thick, folded pieces were glossy, like from a nice magazine. They were a light bulb. Elephant. I continued saving all the gifts. Every year was like a present from Riley. My assumption of a prank faded years ago, knowing no one would keep this up this long. The next 3 years brought envelopes containing dog, mop, earring. The last 13 years, been a hard battle to fight. Not knowing where Riley is or if she even is still alive. It eats my soul. I've managed the pain as best as I could. These damn envelopes bring it all back. I have no idea why anyone would do this as a prank, but I equally can't believe that it's anyone other than Riley. Every year, my mailbox camera malfunctions, goes blank, or is consumed with static the day I receive the envelopes. I have no proof that someone is fucking with me, and it drives me crazy. Would anyone really torment me for this long? Riley would be 22 now. And I'm sure just as sweet as when she was taken from me. Valentine's Day is approaching and the anxiety has me reaching for guidance. I can't seem to make sense out of the situation, so I'm asking for any help or solutions to this strange puzzle. Hey there, everyone who's listening on YouTube, or those of you who are listening on the podcast. It's me, MrCreepyPasta, and before you head out for the night, I just wanted to let you know about a couple of things. Without you, the show doesn't take place. So, if you guys would like to support the show, or if you guys would like to get your hands on a couple of cool little things whenever new things come out, check out patreon.com/MrCreepyPasta, and any support that you guys show, I really appreciate. For everyone who's already donated to the Patreon, I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for that. If you guys are looking for more Creepypasta Storytime, there's a new video that's uploaded to this channel or uploaded to the podcast every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday now. You can be able to get more from me at facebook.com/MrCreepyPasta or on Twitter at MrCreepyPasta and then the number 0. Thanks so much for listening, kids, and for your support. And sweet dreams.